no story about the Irish would be complete without touching upon its greatest celebrity, so if you're new to my channel, strap yourself in as we go down this first of my usual number of rabbit holes. The story goes that Patrick, the son of a Roman official in what is today Western England, was abducted by Irish pirates and spent 6 years as a slave, tending animals there. It appears that while in bondage, he was exposed to Christian teachings among the small group that was already established there, and in his own later writings, he tells us that at that time he began to receive visions of saints that guided his eventual escape back home. Shortly after, he had yet another vision in which his Irish captors were begging him to return as a holy man to walk among them. As he grew to maturity, having himself recently been ordained as a priest, this last vision played upon him repeatedly, such that he felt compelled to travel back again. But in his new mission, he faced the hostility of both local pagans and established Christians alike. He nevertheless persisted, enduring beatings, imprisonment, and even a trial by his fellow believers, who accused him of impropriety and being, shall we say, a ladies' man. But despite these setbacks, his fame as a teacher spread far and wide, with nobles converting to the faith and building churches and monasteries around the country under his guidance. One legend concerning St. Patrick is that he used a shamrock with its 3 leaves to teach about the nature of the Holy Trinity, which, in time, would forever cement the symbolic identity of the clover, church, and the green of Ireland under his name. Another legend, or set of legends, that only emerged centuries after his death, has the pious saint fasting and meditating on a mountain for 40 days, as you do, when he was set upon by venomous snakes in one version and black demon birds in another. In both versions, he chases them off into the sea, banishing them from Ireland forever. Unfortunately, it appears that the story was pilfered from the hagiography of another, later Irish saint, Columba, who actually preached the gospel in Scotland, and, incidentally, was the bloke responsible for banishing the Loch Ness Monster into the lake that is now its celebrated home and tourist attraction. Now, as if that wasn't bad enough, paleontologist party poopers have also burst the proverbial bubble by confirming that there have been no significant reptiles in the Irish fossil record since at least the last ice age, which means, of course, that either the church has been pulling the wool over our eyes, or otherwise St. Pat had the geological mojo to banish fossils as well as live snakes. Did I mention they make good whiskey in Ireland? Never mind. Apart from the purely miraculous, Patrick and possibly his predecessor Palladius were thought to be responsible for more mundane blessings, such as introducing the Roman alphabet and for codifying many of the laws that had hitherto been passed down only by oral tradition. Their work went a long way to establishing some of the earliest and most active monasteries in Western Europe, from which a range of artistic and literary masterpieces still survive, and from which, ironically, Christian missionaries now travelled the other way, back to the continent during the early Middle Ages, when Roman society had all but collapsed under the dominion of marauding nomadic invaders. When he died in 461 at the age of 76, he was bishop and primate of a substantial Christian community, and by the 7th century, his stature had grown to such an extent that he was venerated as the patron saint of all Ireland, and unlike most other saints, he was the patron of not much else, except maybe snake bites. As mentioned, he is often symbolically shown clutching a sprig of shamrock, and emblematically often represented via a red saltire. An example being its integration into the Union Jack flag, following the Acts of Union in 1800.